welcome back to my little gardening show. Today is April 21st and we still don't have anything planted in the garden yet. The weather's just been kind of crazy, kind of having a late spring, or I guess a colder spring than normal. So anyway, what do you do? So I've got the cold weather starts out at Dad's house. They're hardening off, and I hope to get out to the garden this week, spend some time out there getting the ground prepped for everything. But I thought I'd take you along and show you the warm weather seedling setup here. So as you can see, most of the tomatoes are up. I don't think any of our peppers have sprouted yet. We'll go ahead and raise the lights here, a little more detailed look. I've got a couple of varieties that have been kind of slow to sprout, or maybe the seeds just weren't viable. Kind of a little disappointed by this one. This is one of my favorite tomatoes, Dester, and so far just one sprout, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. Pink Brandywine, it looks like they're finally starting to break the ground. The Chadwick Cherry and the, I think it's the Blueberries and Cream. The Blueberries and Cream were the first variety to sprout, but this has definitely been the most vigorous. Looks like the Red Tide chilies are starting to sprout. There's a few sprouts there. You can see the potting mix is starting to be pushed up. That's my red Marconis. So they're coming along, but it's been right at a week. Now part of why it's taken so long for them to sprout is because I didn't have like a cover over this, so it wasn't like a true greenhouse effect. They're getting the heat from the bottom coming up, and it was kind of escaping through the surface of the pots, and it's kind of cold in the cold room, or the grow room in general. It's like 60 degrees in here, so even though I've got the mat going and everything, it's been a little bit of a struggle for, or it's just taking longer than typically it would if I would have had a top. So if I were to change something, what I would change is getting the clear plastic tops to cover my my seed trays here. Did this a little different too, having this set up to be bottom watered, so I don't have to worry about that, and the water wicking up would keep everything moist. That's worked out pretty well, not having to water as much, especially with the heat mat being set at 80 degrees. So once the rest of the tomatoes have sprouted, we're going to kind of pick through. We're going to figure out which ones we want to keep, and you know, do 10 to 12 plants of each one. I'll get them in their individual cups, solo cups, and then they'll be potted in there for, you know, the rest of their time growing until they're ready for the garden. They will grow pretty quick once they are potted up and they've got the nutrients and everything like that, and the heat, you know, when things warm up, they should take off their vines, so they tend to grow faster than the peppers. So these little pots, I'll show you this real quick. These are just little, I think they're 4-inch by 5-inch pots or something like that, or maybe, yeah, I think 4 by 5. Anyway, I think they were like 20 cents a pot or something. I got them pretty cheap. Can reuse them. I got the drainage holes here, so what I did on potting these up is we just took, you know, some tissue paper. I took a half square, just one layer thick. Put it in the pot. Then we put our potting mix in there. Made sure the potting mix was nice and moist and everything like that. But kind of pushed it down so that it had good contact. Filled this tray with about 1 inch of water, and then put the pots in, and then I watered on the top just so that everything was nice and moist. And then we were good to go. We planted our seeds and then put a little bit of potting mix on top. but these work out well. I'm gonna even use these to start the tomatoes. Though, what's nice about the cups is that they're taller, and so you get, I mean, root mass overall is probably gonna be about the same, but you save a little space using the solo cups, and they get a little bit deeper root zone there. So anyway, that's what we got going on. I'll have quite a few trays set up here. I'll probably be using primarily the quad trays to pot everything up and go with the bottom water method for the tomatoes. Just so I don't have to worry about them, kind of be on autopilot. For the peppers, I'll be using the worm bin trays again. That worked out. They just do really well on that. It's a deeper profile. I'll show you that real quick. These worm bin trays are kind of nice. It's 6-inch deep. They're heavy duty. Again, I'll put paper towel, a layer of paper towel down just so the potting mix doesn't fall through. We'll fill this all the way to the top. Moisten it down so there'll be plenty of growing medium here for the peppers to grow and just kind of thrive. What's kind of nice too is that actually we won't fill it all the way to the top. We'll fill it about 3/4 of the way. But as the peppers grow, they're going to be kind of shielded from the wind and stuff until they get a little bit bigger. But these worked out really well, and I'll probably do a grid of like, I don't know, 16 or 20 plants per worm bin tray, which I've got, I think, 2 or 3 extra trays. So there'll be a strategy for that. The cucumbers and the squash and watermelon and all that, a lot of times those do well being direct sown, so I'll either do that or I'll start them out in the pots, and then it'll be about 3 weeks. 3-4 weeks they'll be ready to go. They sprout pretty quick. They're pretty vigorous. My onion sets, they're doing okay. You know, I'm not giving them any kind of water and all that. I mean, they've sprouted. They're ready to go. They just need to be put in the ground and into that'll stimulate the roots, and they'll start growing. I would have liked to have had them in the ground by now, but the weather's just not been that good. The ground's been too moist, too wet to really work. There's still a lot of clay in the soil over in the garden. We don't have it, the structure. Our soil profile isn't exactly what we want it to be just yet. But I've got quite a few onion sets down here just waiting from Dixondale Farms. Excellent quality so far. Hopefully having them in trays like this for an extended period of time isn't going to affect them too much. We're about 2 weeks later than what I'd like to be on getting these planted. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at in terms of planting and seed starting and all of that. Later than what I'd like to be, but it's just kind of the way it is. Weather over here in Ohio, we were living in northern Indiana, and I don't know if it's just the seasons change or whatnot, or just kind of the location where we're at, or maybe we're getting a little bit of the northeastern fronts that come down, whatever. Just seems like the seasons are a little later here. You know, typically I could plant Mother's Day weekend over in northern Indiana, whereas here it's really not until Memorial Day weekend that I can get tomatoes and stuff in the ground without having to worry about them being cut off. In fact, our first year here, when I tried planting the tomatoes the Mother's Day weekend, we got a killing frost. Basically lost everything. So anyway, looking forward to this year. We got a lot of work to do in the garden. Ground's still really wet. We got there's pretty thick leaf mold that's still on top, so we'll have to pull all that back and kind of prep our beds. A lot of weeding to do out there, even though I have thick cover mulch. There's a lot of weeds out there that are just kind of really vigorous, and we're able to kind of grow through all that. So a lot of work to do to get the garden where it really needs to be, so it's not such a chore to maintain or doesn't get out of control where the weeds just. That's one of the challenges. Gardening in like a larger space. It's not like a backyard garden where you can just kind of walk out the back of your house and, you know, weed a little bit here, a little bit there. You know, having something that's kind of off-site and it's that big, it's difficult to to maintain, even with cover mulches and things like that. So I don't know, going to give that some thought. We may even try to do some drip irrigation out there this year. We'll kind of see. If we keep getting the moisture like we have this spring, we won't need that. In fact, last year we didn't need it at all, and had to do very little watering actually, even during the summer, because we got consistent rains each week. So see how things go. I guess that's it for now. Until next time, happy gardening.